be a rematch in the ALDS, if we're lucky. So anyway, actually, David, why don't you get into it with him?
Yeah, so, you know, it kind of looks like your starting pitching stinks this year, huh?
Yeah, they're really not really up to par so far. We gotta
Just
gotta
not
whip
just
them into
not
shape.
doing well. Tell me about when you came to this year, your expectations for a Verlander that just not only got married, won a World Series, pitched out of his ass, and then you had Garrett Cole, who's been trying to find it as an ace, but hasn't made the step, and Charlie Morton. Tell me about your expectations for the first couple starts of the year, and then what you think now of this just three-headed monster you have out there in Houston.
Yeah, I think expectations were definitely interesting. Like, it was tough for Astros fans to temper their expectations coming off their only World Series win ever in 56 years. I mean, it was going to be high. I mean, the expectations were going to be high. And, really right after we won, Alex Bregman, our third baseman, started talking about back-to-back. He immediately started it. And then really in February, kind of Verlander took the reins and said, yeah, I think the champion, I mean, if you want to win it in 2018, the road comes to Houston. And so Astros fans are really kind of tempering things because we, from Houston, we've had a lot of disasters in 56 years. We kind of learned to temper expectations. But then once the team started talking, we're like, okay, let's look into this. And so really, going just kind of down the line with Verlander, we know that he wasn't very good in Detroit, right when we got him, kind of in 2017. But, when he got to Houston, he was unbelievable. And then the playoffs, he was unbelievable. So, I mean, we were kind of in a mixed bag there, but I think people were generally thinking that Verlander would be pretty good and definitely our ace coming into this year. Morton was going to be – he just did it in 2017 for the first time ever. He was really good. But can he repeat? And, no one knew. Keuchel and McCullers, everyone in Houston knows are really talented pitchers, but no one knew if they could put together a full season as far as health goes, because that's been a real struggle for both of them. So that was kind of a question mark. And then Cole, I think a lot of people were cautiously optimistic, and I think there were two reasons for that. One was that Cole came in the Pittsburgh Pirates trade, which we only gave up, and I say only, they're all three playing really well for Pittsburgh right now. Michael Feliz, a reliever, Joe Musgrove, a starter, and then Colin Moran, a third baseman. Three guys who really, I don't want to say didn't fit in Houston, but like, for example, Moran was playing behind Bregman. Musgrove had to go behind these five pitchers we had ahead of him that are all doing really well. And Feliz was kind of a guy who was highly touted in our minor league system and just kind of didn't work in the majors for whatever reason, just kind of needed a change of scenery. And so Astros fans really saw that trade as a steal. And, couple that with the fact that Brent Strom, a pitching coach, has such a great reputation, and we seem to do well with pitchers who come in from other teams. I think with Cole, it was really optimistic that he would get back to his form that he had, and I think it was 2015 or 2014 with the Pirates before he kind of got injured and hit a lull. So I think expectations were really high for like Cole, Verlander, and then with McCullers, Morton, and Keuchel, it was a lot of like wait and see. Who knows? It could be great, it could be disastrous, but I think definitely there were everyone was pretty happy with the group of five we were putting out there, and I think a lot of the preseason rankings reflected that. And Houston was at least in the top five in most of the rotation rankings I saw.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, they're obviously back defending champs, trying to go back-to-back. They're going to be up there. I mean, I love Garrett Cole. I thought he was a great fit. I was so excited that he went to you guys instead of the Yankees, obviously being a Red Sox fan, and the Yankees needing starting pitching probably more than anything. But so you have these great starters out here. Obviously, they're doing really well this year. 6-3, 5-1, 7-2, 7-0. But a few things, especially just in the series that passed, your bullpen. Do you think that looks from the outside looking in, looks like your biggest question mark? And do you think you need to address that kind of come trade deadline? And where would you? Would it be a straight-up new closer, a new setup guy, rework some positions there maybe?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the hottest topic as it comes to the Astros right now. I mean, maybe the offense, because they're struggling a little bit. Some guys are struggling, but the bullpen has been an issue going back to the playoffs. I mean, an issue. So, let me kind of clarify that. I mean, I think a lot of people right now see the Astros as like kind of what they were in the World Series, which is kind of a bullpen that melted down in Game 5, but we got away with it because the Dodgers bullpen also melted down, so it was just kind of a slugfest. And then we just ended up using kind of a tandem pitching strategy to kind of carry us through with Morton and McCullers in Game 7, or McCullers and Morton, I should say. But I think, if you look at the Astros bullpen right now, I think that a lot of the question marks are maybe not all that truthful or not all that valid. If, you look at Chris Davinsky, for example, he's been our top reliever this year. I mean, he's striking out a third of the batters he's facing. It almost, he's at 32.9%, which is ridiculous. I mean, his ERA is at 2.08. He had a tough outing last night in New York where he gave up the home run to Gardner, and then we blew it in the 10th. But, he's, for a right-handed pitcher, his changeup, I think, is one of the best pitchers in the game. I mean, I'd really, suggest you guys watch for that this weekend. It's really impressive, just the way.
Yeah, Davinsky's great. I had him on my fantasy team last year, and he was just crushing it for me. He just comes in and just the ball disappears.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So I think, I think am the most confident of any of our bullpen arms in Davinsky. And then besides that, we have Brad Peacock, who was amazing for us as a starter of the regular season last year. He gets bit by the home run ball, I think a little bit too much for a reliever, but that also came back to haunt him on Monday. But he's really been good for us overall. His slider has been a really effective pitch for him, and his fastball gets up there in the mid-90s, which is really good for. I mean, not really good, but pretty good for a reliever. And then you've got Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're coming across a little muffled. I don't know if the mic is too far away from you or your phone or.
Yeah, is that better now or no?
Yeah, way better.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we've got I just described Davinsky and Peacock, and then the head case in our bullpen is Giles, as I think is well documented.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. He's either on or off
that himself in the
guy.
face at one point this week. I don't know if you guys caught that.
I did.
I saw that. He was not happy giving up. I think he gave up a home run, right?
Yeah, it was a home run to Sanchez. It went dead center field, Gary Sanchez, and he just decided to punch himself in the face, which was interesting. But he's honestly, I want to say besides that night, and then he came in Sunday in Cleveland and gave up a few base hits with a 5-run lead. But Giles has been one of the kind of weirdest cases in the Astros bullpen this year. Everyone thinks he's bad because of these two blips he's had this year. But besides that, he's been really effective. I mean, he doesn't walk very many people. He's given up a few too many hits, but he's striking out about as many as he's expecting to strike out. His velocity is still there. He needs to work on making his slider a little bit more effective and, not leaving it over the middle of the plate as much as he does. But I really think Giles has been not as terrible as you expect. Like, I would like to see Davinsky in more of the high leverage situations than Giles. But I think the Astros, when it comes to the bullpen, are going to be okay. Also two more players we had in the offseason were Hector Rondon, the former closer for the Cubs, and then Joe Smith, who's kind of a submariner journeyman reliever who has pitched well with Cleveland of late and has started well for the Astros. So I think we're going to be all right in the bullpen, which is you're not going to hear that from very many Astros fans, believe me. I mean, people are worried right now, but I really am optimistic.
Who are some targets, as we approach the summer?
Yeah, so we actually just wrote an article about that on Crawfish Boxes today. What we kind of looked at were, our GM, Jeff Luhnow, has never really been famous for acquiring, big-name relievers. Obviously, went out and got Verlander, which was a huge get as a starting pitcher. But, last year, for example, he went out and got Francisco Liriano. And so we wrote an article today that's called, very Luhnow trade targets at the deadline. And these are 4 pitchers that, not many people are going to know, to be honest with you. One of them is Aaron Bummer on the White Sox. Not really a household name, but these are all 4 lefties, by the way, because we don't really have a lefty specialist out then. We kind of use, I said earlier, we use Davinsky in that role. But so Aaron Bummer is a guy on the White Sox who throws a good sinker, a solid sinker that he uses a lot to get righties and lefties out, and he uses a nice fastball as well. And then there's Tanner Scott on the Orioles. You guys might know him a little bit better because he's in your division. But he's mainly a fastball guy. He's averaging 96.5 on his fastball this year. Then there are 2 other guys, Robbie Erlin and Aaron Loop on the Erlin's on the Padres and Loop is on the Blue Jays, who have been okay. But these guys are really not in big names as someone would expect. I think the other more big name targets that are out there, everyone's going to talk about Zach Britton. We just don't really know where the Orioles stand. And also, I'm not sure, and no one in Houston really is sure, how the relationship is between the Astros front office and the Orioles front office is after the last trade deadline, because apparently there were rumors that a deal was done for Zach Britton, and then all of a sudden the Orioles owner, Peter DeAngelis, just nixed it at the last minute. And the Astros didn't take that very kindly. So I don't know if Britton's really going to be in the equation this year. Another guy I would look at potentially is Kelvin Herrera on the Royals. The Royals are definitely a team that should be selling at the deadline.
Yeah, he's having a good year as well.
Yeah, he's having a really good year. So I look at Herrera and Britton as like maybe the two big name guys. Brad Hand is another guy in San Diego who's really good, but the Padres are asking the world for him.
Yeah, they want the house for him.
Exactly, and yeah, I don't think the Astros are in a position to do that, especially because, like I said, I think the front office is going to be a little bit more optimistic about the bullpen than the fan base is right now. So
Yeah.
I would look for like a supplemental piece. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you guys definitely have the farm still. I mean, even after acquiring Verlander to make a big splash, if that's what you feel you need to do.
Right, and yeah, I just don't think we have to make a big splash. I mean, if we get another bullpen piece, that'd be great. We could certainly use more depth, and everyone can always use more bullpen depth in the postseason. But like we said, I mean, we have guys coming up. Forrest Whitley is our top prospect right now. He was just finished serving a 50-game suspension for what was believed to be Adderall, but no one really knows for sure. And then Kyle Tucker is a guy who's in the outfield that's a really good prospect for us. Preston Tucker's brother. He's an outfielder for the Braves. And those two guys are kind of the top two, I guess, best players we have. And then behind that, there are two or three other guys that Jordan Alvarez, J.V. Bukowskis, and CNL Perez are three guys that are all playing really well. Bukowskis was our first-round pick last year, but or Alvarez is a first baseman and Perez is a lefty starter who are both playing really well right now in the minors. And so I think like the Astros farm system definitely isn't where it was a couple of years ago because of all the trades and just getting better and people coming out of the farm system and onto the big league team. But like you said, I agree. I mean, the top five guys are still elite prospects. And I think we could use them. I just don't really see Luhnow doing it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily do that as well. I mean, there's a multitude of people, you could dig up from teams like, for instance, the Red Sox gave up basically nothing for Addison Reed last year, and he pitched.
Yeah, that was a great deal.
Yeah, that was a good trade. I mean, Aaron Loop would be a guy that would fit perfect for you guys. We just got done watching him against Toronto, and he throws the ball funky and hard, and he's a free agent next year, and he's been pitching well this year. The guy from the White Sox, Plummer, is it Plummer or Plummer?
Let me check that.
I forget how to pronounce his name. I'm awful with names.
It's with a B. It's a
Bummer.
No L. Yeah, Bummer. There you go.
Bummer. So Bummer's only 24. So I don't think on a team that is trying to, he's on the team control for 2 more years than Arb. So I think he's going to be tough to get. And I think Loop would be a guy I think that Houston would definitely go after. And considering that the Blue Jays is going to sell, you could probably get away with something without giving up a huge arm or, bat down the system.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think Luke would be a great candidate.
You guys gave up Teoscar Hernandez in the Liriano deal. Did you have any indication that he would rise as quickly in the majors as he has? And I'm not making him out to be a stud prospect by any means, but he's been very serviceable for the Blue Jays, and I mean, they didn't give up a whole lot to get him.
Yeah, I mean, they gave up Liriano, who ended up pitching, I think, like a total of 2 innings for us in the playoffs. But like,
yeah, he didn't do too much, but
yeah, exactly. But I think Hernandez definitely had some potential as a prospect. He was always kind of in our top 30 rankings the last couple of years. He just kind of took a while to develop in Double-A. He had some hiccups. And then when he was on the Astros, he was good, but not great. And so it's kind of a guy, we have to give him more playing time to really see who he is. And I think that's why the Astros made the deal. I mean, we just did not have room for him with Derek Fisher coming up and Springer and Reddick and Marisnik and all those guys already in the outfield. I mean, although I'd definitely like to have him over Marisnik right now because Marisnik's been terrible.
he's been pretty bad for you guys. Hernandez is definitely serviceable. And he's 25, so I mean, he still has time to develop. And I mean, he's batting around 250 right now for a bad Toronto team. So, I mean, that's a bright spot for them. And I don't think – I mean, yeah, would you say you lost the trade? Sure. But, I mean, is it going to affect you in the long run? Probably not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the perfect way of saying it. Like, we won the World Series, so I can't really complain. You know,
Yeah.
like, it sounds like an elitist way of putting it, but it's the truth. You know, I'm happy that he's having a good career. He seemed like a cool player when he was on the Astros, but I mean, the fact is we didn't have room for him. He got a chance to sign somewhere else, which is cool.